bourbon chicken and rice coming right up.
The malls back in the 1980s to 2000s used to be the place to go. The food courts were always packed, and that was also the place to be in the mall. Now it's basically a crime scene. Sbarro filed for multiple bankruptcies. The Orange Julius is gone. That weird fountain that everybody tossed pennies into is definitely gone. But the chicken from the food court survived, and we're bringing it back like it's the last guy standing in a horror flick. Today on Spicy Salvation, we're making that classic mall bourbon chicken, the one that somehow outlived the entire food apocalypse. We'll start with 2 to 2.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and we'll just cube these up into little bite-sized nuggets. So here's the weird part. Nobody actually knows who invented the bourbon chicken. The leading theory is that it came out of Bourbon Street in New Orleans, where a chef at a Chinese restaurant decided to mash up Cantonese cooking with Cajun flavors. No name, no restaurant, basically the Bigfoot of Chinese American cuisine. Then there's a twist. A mall food court chain called Big Easy Cajun is tied to the recipe by people who claim to know the guys who developed it. Built specifically for food court stalls, loosely based on Cajun barbecue marinade and baste technique, engineered to travel and appeal nationwide. That's secondhand and not gospel, but it's the closest thing that we know where this came from. And here's an even funnier part. At this time, bourbon chicken shows up in malls in Georgia, Florida, Texas, just about anywhere in the United States you can find it. Everywhere except Louisiana. Locals down there mostly don't even recognize it as their own food. And let's finish the story after we make this delicious delicacy. All right, our chicken's all cut up. We're gonna season these with salt, pepper, garlic powder, and some onion powder. No measurements needed, just put on what you normally do. A couple teaspoons each. Get your pan to medium heat. We'll use about a tablespoon of peanut oil. Drop these chicken in there. We're gonna cook these down until they're completely cooked, and then remove them from the pan. Cook, 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 bok, bok, bok. All right, these are cooked down. Let's remove them out of the pan. All right, most of our chicken's removed from the pan. Now we're gonna add a half a cup of bourbon. Even though the stuff you got in the mall most likely didn't contain any bourbon, we're gonna put in a half a cup of Maker's Mark 46. And a little in my glass. We're using Maker's, ooh, I can smell that bourbon. We're using Maker's Mark 46 because it has extra oak and vanilla from the toasted French staves. Bourbon break. So we're taking this chicken for a walk down Bourbon Street. After a few minutes, we'll add a half a cup of soy sauce, 4 garlic cloves minced, half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, a half a cup of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger, 1/3 cup of my maple bourbon barbecue sauce. You can use any barbecue sauce, or if you'd like to use this barbecue sauce, I'll leave the link in the description to where you can find the recipe to that. In goes 1/2 a cup of apple juice for that mall food court sweetness, 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce for a very powerful umami flavor. This probably traces back to the Han Dynasty. We're talking 2,000 years before anyone thought to put it on a chicken thigh at a food court. The history is a little foggy, the records are thin, but it's likely that it started out as a seafood base. Think of it as Chinese barbecue sauce. To thicken it up, we're going to use a slurry of 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of chicken broth. Alright, while this simmers and thickens up, let's finish up that story. The name almost certainly comes from Bourbon Street in Louisiana, not the bourbon. Bourbon Street itself named after the French Royal House of Bourbon, dating back to 1721. So this dish is named after French kings by way of New Orleans, by way of who knows who, and typically lacks any bourbon at all. Alright, it's thickened up plenty. Let's add this chicken back in there. If your house smells like a mall food court right now, I think you did it right. We're just gonna cook it in this sauce for a couple more minutes so that sauce clings onto the chicken. All right, let's take it off the heat and plate up. This smells exactly like the mall. Probably a little better because I actually know what meat this is. I plated it with some of my fried rice that you can find in this video. But here you have it. Give it a shot. This is bringing back memories. This tastes exactly like the stuff I used to get in the mall, but better. Nobody knows the chef, nobody knows the restaurant, and now the mall is disappearing too. At this point, bourbon chicken has outlived Walden Books and Payless shoe stores. The mall might be dead, but this chicken tastes like a food court resurrection. Stay spicy, my friends. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.